Noah Mitchell is a 12-year-old boy living in a small town in Minnesota. He lives with his grandparents after losing his parents in a tragic car accident. His grandfather, Lester Mitchell, a former Army veteran, is the only pillar of support for Noah and his grandmother, Hattie. These days, the family is struggling to cope with the recent policy changes enacted by President Richard Evans, who has just approved significant budget cuts to Medicaid to fund tax reductions for the wealthy. As a result, local hospitals start turning away elderly patients without sufficient health insurance coverage. Lester Mitchell is suffering from severe heart failure. He urgently needs to be admitted to the hospital for surgery. However, due to the Medicaid cuts, he is denied financial assistance. Hattie, a frail elderly woman, sits helplessly by her husband's bedside, clutching his hand and praying. Meanwhile, Noah stands outside the ICU, gazing through the glass window with teary eyes. He is powerless to save his grandfather. In that moment, Noah recalls the evenings when Lester used to tell him stories of his time serving in the Army. Lester was once a proud, strong man adorned with medals of honor, but now he lies weak and abandoned by a system that was supposed to protect him. Lester eventually passes away. Hattie collapses beside her husband's lifeless body, sobbing uncontrollably while Noah clutches his old, battered phone, the only connection he has to the outside world. This is the turning point. The scene concludes with Noah sitting alone at his grandfather's grave, his hands trembling as he scrolls through the screen of his phone, tears streaming down his face. He vows to himself that he will not let the same fate befall Hattie and other elderly people like her. Following Lester's death, the reality of life without financial support hits Noah and Hattie like a freight train. Hattie, now widowed and in poor health, struggles to make ends meet by working as a janitor at a local grocery store. Every day she returns home exhausted, her hands calloused and her back aching. Meanwhile, Noah, a mere 12-year-old, takes on more responsibilities than any child his age should bear. After school, he rushes to a nearby coffee shop where he works part-time, bussing tables and washing dishes to help cover basic expenses. The once carefree boy is now burdened by the weight of adulthood far too soon. On particularly cold evenings, Noah rides his rusty old bicycle through the snow, carrying a lunchbox with warm food for Hattie, who still has hours left on her shift. The biting wind stings his cheeks, but he presses on, determined not to let his grandmother go hungry. Despite their hardships, Hattie tries to maintain a brave face for Noah's sake, smiling and telling him that everything will be all right. But at night, when Noah overhears her coughing fits and quiet sobs through the thin walls, he knows the truth. They are sinking. One evening, after a long day at work, Noah sits on the floor of their small, dimly lit living room, scrolling through his old cracked phone. He stumbles upon a viral TikTok video of a young influencer who raised thousands of dollars for a family in need through social media. The idea sparks something in Noah. He stares at the phone in his hand, then glances toward Hattie, who has fallen asleep on the couch, still in her work uniform. Noah tightens his grip on the phone, eyes shining with a newfound resolve. The chapter concludes with Noah whispering to himself, "If they can do it, so can I." Noah decides to take action. With only an old phone and a shaky internet connection, he begins recording short videos, capturing the reality of life for his grandmother and other elderly people in the community. The footage is raw, Hattie struggling to lift heavy grocery bags, elderly neighbors sitting alone on their porches, and the tiny, cramped apartment they call home. Noah uploads the videos to TikTok and YouTube using hashtags like Shakri Help or Elders and Forgotten Seniors. Initially, the videos receive little attention, but Noah refuses to give up. He keeps posting daily, sharing honest and emotional stories about his grandmother, the man she lost, and the struggles they face each day. One night, a video of Hattie collapsing in exhaustion after her shift at the grocery store goes viral. The video is raw, unfiltered, and heartbreaking. It shows Noah rushing to her side, cradling her head and begging her to wake up. The comments section explodes with sympathy, outrage, and offers of help. Soon, people start reaching out to Noah, asking how they can donate. Some send small amounts of money via PayPal, others offer words of encouragement. A local news outlet picks up the story, interviewing Noah and Hattie. The segment airs during the evening news, amplifying their reach. Noah's account grows rapidly. Followers begin to share their own stories of struggling grandparents and the impact of President Evans' Medicaid cuts. The platform becomes a space for voices that have been ignored, people like Hattie, who worked hard all her life, but are now left to fend for themselves. The chapter ends with Noah checking his PayPal account and gasping at the sight of the donations. It's not much, but it's more than he's ever seen in his life. Noah rushes to Hattie, who is sitting at the kitchen table, her hands shaking as she sips a cup of tea. He shows her the phone, his eyes wide with hope. "Look, Grandma," he says, voice trembling. "People are helping us." With the growing support from social media, Noah starts to dream bigger. The donations have been helpful, but they are far from enough to secure long-term stability for Hattie and others like her. One night, as he sits in their cramped living room, Noah has a revelation. What if he could create a place where elderly people like Hattie could live safely without worrying about money? Noah drafts a plan to build a free nursing home for elderly people who have been neglected by the system. He records a heartfelt video outlining his vision of a place where seniors can be treated with dignity, where they can share meals, play games, and be surrounded by people who care. Noah's video is raw and unpolished. His voice trembles as he speaks about his grandfather's death, the sleepless nights spent worrying about Hattie, and the countless elderly people he sees struggling every day. "No one should die alone, scared, and forgotten," he says, looking directly into the camera. "Let's build a place where they can feel safe, loved, and valued." The video strikes a chord. It spreads rapidly across social media platforms. People share it with captions like, "This kid has a heart of gold," and "If a 12-year-old can step up, why can't we?" Soon, Noah receives a direct message from Sophie Tran, a well-known YouTube influencer with millions of followers. Sophie offers to amplify Noah's message and invites him to do a live stream interview on her channel. The interview is a hit, attracting tens of thousands of viewers who flood the comment section with donations and pledges. Meanwhile, a local businessman, Samuel Harrington, reaches out to Noah, offering a partnership to help fund the nursing home. However, Samuel's intentions are not entirely pure. He sees the opportunity as a way to gain publicity and write off the donation as a tax deduction. Noah is torn. Should he accept Samuel's offer, which could expedite the construction of the nursing home, but might also compromise his vision? Or should he continue relying on small donations and maintain full control over the project? The chapter ends with Noah standing in front of his grandfather's grave, eyes closed, trying to find the answer. "What would you do, Grandpa?" he whispers, as the wind whistles through the trees. Despite the overwhelming support from the community, Noah soon realizes that building a nursing home is far more complicated than he anticipated. The initial donations have been helpful, but they barely scratch the surface of what is needed to purchase land, hire staff, and cover operational costs. Noah spends hours researching building permits, zoning laws, and construction regulations. The more he learns, the more discouraged he feels. The costs are astronomical, and the bureaucratic red tape seems endless. Meanwhile, Hattie's health continues to decline, and the stress of trying to keep them afloat financially takes its toll on Noah. Samuel Harrington continues to pressure Noah to accept his partnership offer. "Look, kid," Samuel says, leaning back in his leather chair, "you can't do this alone. Let me help you. I'll cover the costs, and in return, you just put my name on the building. It's a win-win." Noah hesitates. The money would secure the nursing home's construction, but he knows that once Samuel is involved, the project might lose its original purpose. Samuel is known for turning charitable ventures into profitable businesses. Meanwhile, Noah's social media followers begin to notice the stall in progress. "What happened to the nursing home idea?" One commenter writes, "You can't give up now, Noah." Noah is torn between his desire to stay true to his vision and the overwhelming pressure to accept Samuel's offer. One night after a long day of work at the coffee shop, he comes home to find Hattie struggling to breathe. Panic-stricken, Noah calls 911, and the paramedics arrive just in time to stabilize her. Sitting beside Hattie's hospital bed, Noah clasps her hand tightly. "I'm not going to let this happen to you," he whispers, tears streaming down his face. "I promise, Grandpa." The chapter ends with Noah making a decision. He pulls out his phone and starts recording a new video. This time his voice is stronger, more determined. "We're not giving up," he says. "This is bigger than me. It's bigger than Hattie. It's for every grandparent who's been forgotten and left behind, and we're going to do this, no matter how long it takes." Noah's determination pays off. His latest video, a heartfelt plea for support, goes viral. Donations begin to pour in, small amounts from everyday people who believe in Noah's vision, and larger contributions from philanthropists who are moved by his story. The community rallies around Noah, organizing fundraising events and spreading his message far and wide. Sophie Tran continues to use her platform to amplify Noah's cause, featuring him in multiple live streams and encouraging her followers to donate. Local news outlets cover Noah's story, calling him the kid with a mission and a beacon of hope for the elderly. With the funds finally reaching a substantial amount, Noah is able to purchase a small, abandoned building on the outskirts of town. It's not much. The roof leaks, the floors creak, and the walls are covered in peeling paint. But to Noah, it's the start of something beautiful. Noah, with the help of volunteers and local contractors who offer discounted services, begins the process of renovating the building. The community comes together to donate furniture, bedding, and supplies. Hattie, despite her weakened state, helps paint the walls a soft, calming blue. "This is for them," she says, her eyes shining with hope. Noah records every step of the renovation process, sharing updates on social media to keep his followers engaged and involved. "Look what we're building together," he says in one video, panning the camera around the freshly painted common room where donated couches and tables now sit. As the nursing home starts to take shape, Noah decides to name it Lester's Haven in honor of his grandfather. The sign is hung above the entrance, a simple wooden plaque with the words painted in bold white letters. On opening day, a small crowd gathers outside Lester's Haven. Noah stands at the entrance with Hattie by his side, both of them holding back tears. Sophie Tran is there with a camera crew, live streaming the event to Noah's growing audience. The first residents arrive, elderly men and women who have been displaced or forgotten by the system. As they step inside, their faces light up with joy and relief. For the first time in years, they feel seen, safe, and cared for. The chapter ends with Noah sitting beside Hattie in the common room, watching as the new residents laugh and share stories. "We did it, Grandma," he whispers, leaning his head against her shoulder. "We really did it." Noah's story continues to spread, garnering national attention. News outlets pick up the story of Lester's Haven, the nursing home built by a 12-year-old boy who refused to give up. Videos of the grand opening circulate on social media, and soon the hashtag #SureLester'sHaven starts trending nationwide. Meanwhile, President Richard Evans is facing mounting criticism for the Medicaid cuts. Public outrage intensifies as more stories like Noah's come to light. Elderly people unable to afford basic health care, families struggling to keep their loved ones alive, veterans like Lester Mitchell dying without the care they deserved. A prominent journalist, Emma Torres, reaches out to Noah for an exclusive interview. "How did a kid like you manage to do what so many adults couldn't?" she asks, sitting across from Noah in the common room of Lester's Haven. Behind them, elderly residents chat and play cards, the room filled with warmth and laughter. "I just refuse to give up," Noah says, his voice steady. "My grandpa fought in the army, he fought for this country, and when he needed help, he was left to die. No one should have to go through that. Not my grandma, not anyone." The interview airs on national television, reaching millions. The clip of Noah's statement becomes the most shared video of the day, sparking conversations about the neglect of senior citizens and the consequences of the Medicaid cuts. The White House can no longer ignore the backlash. President Evans announces a press conference to address the growing crisis. He stands before a sea of reporters, his expression serious. "We have heard the stories of people like Noah Mitchell and his grandmother Hattie," he says, his voice grave. "We cannot turn a blind eye to those who built this country and now need our help." President Evans announces a reversal of the Medicaid cuts and the implementation of a new initiative, the Haven Fund, named after Lester's Haven, to provide financial assistance for senior care facilities across the country. Noah is invited to the White House to meet with President Evans. During the meeting, Evans shakes Noah's hand and says, "You made me see what I should have seen all along." The chapter concludes with Noah returning to Lester's Haven, where the residents welcome him with open arms. Hattie, now healthier and smiling, pulls him into a hug. "You did it, Noah," she whispers, tears in her eyes. "You saved us all." The final scene shows Noah sitting on a bench outside the nursing home, the wooden sign reading Lester's Haven hanging proudly above the door. He closes his eyes and whispers, "I did it, Grandpa. We did it." Months pass, and Lester's Haven becomes a symbol of hope for seniors across the country. The nursing home is now fully operational, providing shelter, medical care, and companionship for dozens of elderly residents. The rooms are filled with laughter, music, and the sounds of people sharing stories, exactly as Noah had envisioned. Noah continues to document life inside Lester's Haven, sharing videos of residents celebrating birthdays, playing bingo, and participating in group therapy sessions. His online following continues to grow, and donations keep pouring in to support the facility. Meanwhile, Noah's friendship with Sophie Tran deepens. Sophie, who was instrumental in amplifying Noah's message, now visits Lester's Haven regularly to volunteer and spend time with the residents. She even helps Noah set up a dedicated YouTube channel called Haven Stories, where they share inspirational stories of the elderly and promote the Haven Fund initiative. One day, Noah receives a letter from the White House. President Evans invites him to a formal ceremony to honor him as the youngest recipient of the Presidential Humanitarian Award. The event is televised, and Noah stands on the stage, a 12-year-old boy in a suit too big for him, holding the award with tears in his eyes. In his acceptance speech, Noah looks into the camera and says, "This isn't just for me. This is for my Grandpa Lester, for my Grandma Hattie, and for every senior out there who has been forgotten. We built Lester's Haven, and now we're building more, because no one should be left behind." After the ceremony, Noah returns to Lester's Haven to find a surprise. The residents, led by Hattie, have thrown him a welcome-back party. The common room is decorated with balloons and a banner that reads, "Welcome home, hero." Hattie hugs Noah tightly and whispers, "You did more than save us. You gave us a family." The story concludes with Noah standing outside Lester's Haven at sunset, the warm orange glow casting a halo over the building. He looks up at the sign bearing his grandfather's name and smiles. "This is just the beginning," he says as the screen fades to black. After receiving the Presidential Humanitarian Award, Noah's influence continues to grow. His YouTube channel, Haven Stories, gains hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and people from all over the country begin reaching out to him. Families struggling to care for their elderly loved ones, volunteers wanting to help, and donors eager to support his cause. Noah decides it's time to expand. With the funds from the Haven Fund initiative, he launches a campaign to open new branches of Lester's Haven in other states. Sophie Tran becomes his official spokesperson, using her platform to spread the word about the Haven Network, a series of free nursing homes for seniors in need. The first expansion is set to open in Chicago. Noah and Hattie travel there to oversee the renovations. The building is larger than the original Lester's Haven, with more rooms, a garden, and a common area designed specifically for therapy sessions. Noah insists on including a memorial wall where residents can share pictures and stories of their loved ones, creating a sense of community and remembrance. While in Chicago, Noah meets Mrs. Ethel Carter, an 85-year-old woman living alone in a rundown apartment. Mrs. Carter lost her husband to cancer and has no children. She survives on a meager Social Security check and relies on canned food donations from neighbors. When Noah invites her to live at the New Haven branch, she breaks down in tears. "I thought people like me were forgotten," she says, clutching Noah's hands. Back in Minnesota, the original Lester's Haven continues to thrive under Hattie's watchful eye. She has become a motherly figure to the residents, organizing game nights and storytelling sessions. For the first time in years, she seems genuinely happy. However, not everyone is thrilled with Noah's success. Samuel Harrington, the businessman Noah refused to partner with, is now seeking revenge. He spreads rumors that Noah is pocketing donation money and using the nursing home for personal gain. The media catches wind of the accusations, and soon Noah finds himself in the middle of a public scandal. The chapter ends with Noah sitting alone in the common room of the Chicago Haven, staring at his phone as hateful comments flood his social media accounts. "Was it all for nothing?" he whispers, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on his young shoulders. The accusations against Noah spread like wildfire. News stations broadcast segments questioning his integrity, and social media is flooded with hashtags like Nashu Scam Alert in exposing Noah Mitchell. Noah feels as though the entire world has turned against him. Even the residents at Lester's Haven begin to look at him with doubt in their eyes. Hattie notices Noah's withdrawn demeanor and takes action. She calls Sophie Tran, who immediately arrives with her camera crew. "We need to clear your name," Sophie says, "but we have to do it the right way." Sophie and Noah decide to hold a live stream from Lester's Haven, where they address every accusation head-on. They provide transparent financial records, showing how every cent of the donations was used to fund the Haven network. They also feature testimonials from residents like Mrs. Ethel Carter, who tearfully thanks Noah for giving her a home when she had nowhere else to go. "I'm not a scammer," Noah says, his voice trembling as he looks into the camera. "I'm just a kid who wanted to keep a promise to his grandpa. And I'm not going to stop. Not now. Not ever." The live stream goes viral, and public opinion quickly shifts. Support pours in, with people praising Noah for his courage and honesty. Samuel Harrington's plan backfires. His own shady business practices are exposed by investigative reporters, and he becomes the one under scrutiny. Meanwhile, President Evans, having watched Noah's live stream, reaches out to him personally. "You stood up for what was right, even when everyone doubted you," Evans says in a video call. "That takes courage. I'd like to meet with you to discuss how we can expand the Haven network nationwide." Noah, Sophie, and Hattie fly to Washington, D.C., where they meet with President Evans and other policymakers. Together, they discuss plans to implement a federal program that would provide funding for nursing homes modeled after Lester's Haven. The final scene takes place back in Minnesota. The original Lester's Haven is now a thriving community with a new wing dedicated to memory care for dementia patients. Noah walks through the halls, greeting residents and sharing stories. When he steps outside, he finds Hattie sitting on a bench, smiling as she watches the sunset. "Grandpa would be so proud of you," she says, reaching for Noah's hand. "I hope so," Noah replies, his eyes fixed on the sign that reads Lester's Haven. "Because this is just the beginning." As the screen fades to black, the sound of children laughing and elderly voices sharing stories fills the air, a testament to the legacy that one determined boy built from nothing but love and a promise.